All
Oh,
right.
Hey,
Derek, you the guest.
I know Mia got thick skin. We love you, Mia, but this is the man cave. Sorry.
man
Yeah.
cave,
I'm
man
gonna let
cave.
Derek
Yeah.
go since he the guest.
Let's go, Derek.
That's like that.
Mm.
I thought it was funny how they was like, yo, outside your 7 babies. And then the girl comes and like, yeah, and your 7 baby mamas. Like they just put this shit all on blast. I thought that was funny, first of all. But man, so much. I don't know where to start. For him to say, like, I'm definitely an advocate for mental illness, you know what I'm saying? Uh I I'll be 52 this year and just found out that I had bipolar 2 last year, 51. So imagine that shit. But I'm definitely a believer of synchronicity. For him to say that mental illness, like being a stepfather is a mental illness, like I definitely disagree with that shit. First of all, like I think this nigga got some trauma that he hasn't addressed. First of all, he got 7 kids and 7 baby moms. That speaks for itself. And he's trying
Right.
to like give niggas advice about be careful who you sleep around with. I'm a firm believer that we attract who we are. You know what I'm saying? So, speaking from someone that didn't have a dad around, I think uh, everybody's in like different, yo. We all have a different attachment styles. We have different childhood traumas, different wounds that we deal with in different ways. So, I have 4 kids, 3 by my first wife, and then my youngest, which is 7, and that's 1 boy, 3 girls. But when you find someone, man, that you have a connection with, that y'all can create compatibility and then create chemistry. Like you have to accept them and everything that comes along with them because you both are creating a union. So if you're gonna say you like love Mia, but you don't want to accept Mia's 2 dogs and daughter, then you know what I mean. Like Mia has all the right to be like, "Yo, not feeling the vibe. We're not aligned. I'm out." You can't get mad at that. So just to put myself out there, this is my first time. I'm not tripping on like sharing. I'm an open book. So I'm with this shorty now, right? And she has a 2 year old, and it's a boy. And his dad is never going to be around again. You know what I'm saying? Is never going to be around again. He's a good kid. And in today's world, like especially dudes, little boys, they need guidance. And he has no male influence in his life experience at all. So it's not a
Hmm.
mental illness for me to accept him because I want to be with her. You know what I'm saying? So for him, first of all, to say it's mental illness, I think that's a mental illness. Say that it's a mental illness for want to be a stepfather, because being a stepfather just isn't being like, yo, I want to be a stepfather. That's like you can't like say, all right, I want to be a stepfather for 3, 4 years. Nah. You know what I'm saying?
All
Like
right.
that's some long-term shit. It's not part-time. So for you to be an influence like that, I mean, of course, every situation is different, but I think there are certain different scenarios where it can work. It has worked. I mean, people are doing
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
You had
So
me locked in on that story, Derek.
yeah.
You had
But
me
then
locked
again,
in.
real quick, my last relationship, you know, that was my person. I thought she had 2 daughters, 7 and 11. They was already established. Their dad picked them up every weekend. It was always like some one up shit with him. Trying, you know what I mean? Like I'm not. that was quite an experience. So it's really got to be the right situation. So I digress. I'm long-winded.
Let's go to your brother Slim.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Oh
He
man,
long-winded too.
I know. I just go straight to the blows.
Yeah.
But nah, this is a good combo. Number one, I was in that situation with my ex. Never had any problems with her boys. To this day, I love them. They doing good. They grown now, all that good stuff. But I don't agree with the mental illness thing either. I believe that if you really on someone like that and you really mess with them, like D said, you're gonna take whatever they bring to the table. You ain't gonna exclude anything because you want to be with that person on another level. So, you know, this is the problem today. Is like I always say, easy, and I say this. This is lame nigga season, and the lames be winning. They be winning hard, and this is another example. So I'm gonna digress with that.
And that's Nora that said that, vulgar, who put that up there. But Mia, give us the female perspective on this.
I mean, being a step parent is a tale as old as time. I mean, it's not uncommon. It is very normal across all religions, creeds, countries, continents, literally across time. I mean, historically, it's a normal thing. It's not abnormal. Plenty of people got married, had children, spouse died, remarried, had more children. I mean, it's a fairly normal concept. I don't think it's anything to do with mental illness or anything like that. Obviously, some situations, like any relationship, can be toxic and boundaries need to be set, but that is like a case by case thing. I mean, that man is like pot, meat, kettle, because he has created 7 broken homes and then is complaining about having to take care of somebody else's broken home. But it's like you've created 7 along the way. So, I mean, your point is mute at this point in time. I mean, you can only throw a stone if you don't live in a glass house, and he lives in the thinnest glass possible at this point in time. I mean, it's hard to take somebody serious when they're a clear indicator of a pattern of bad behavior, bad choices, and creating broken homes.
I think it's like where he coming from, and like what Darren said, maybe it's some childhood trouble, but like me and my mom's husband, we beefed to the point that I left and I went and stayed in the projects by my auntie and by my grandma's house. Like, he was an orphan. He lied about it. He was a cop. We were 2 totally different people. We fought multiple times physically before I was even 12 years old. So he might have went through something like that where it's like, okay, well, I can't be around somebody else's kids because the interaction, like, I'm not going to be able to interact with them. And he talked about money. Kids are expensive, but I agree with you. If you get with somebody, you take on their kids. But as a household, y'all should like come together. But I know people try to use stuff and be like, oh, well, those are your kids. You pay for your kids. I pay for my kids.
So a lot of people, like if you go on a lot of online forums and YouTube, a lot of people will say that if you take on another man's kids, that you won't get the respect from that woman, or that you can't have all of that woman because she has that child there. What would y'all say to that?
I mean, it's a little flimsy.
Say that again. If you take on a woman's child, she won't respect you.
If you deal with a woman who has a child, she won't respect you like she'll respect the actual father.
I've heard that.
And I've seen cases of it. Yeah. I've actually seen cases of it, like you can't discipline a child. So, like, even though you live under the same roof, if the child's acting up, the mother will jump in and try to stop you from doing things because it's not your child. So there's kind of like a boundary there. And a lot of guys say that that's something that they don't want to deal with.
But wouldn't that be a conversation you would have before you moved in with somebody? That would be like a dating conversation where she says, I have a child. and you guys talk about family dynamics and discipline and stuff like that, would be a conversation that you should be having before, in theory, you move in with somebody, unless you're homosexual and you're just with this woman for a place to live. Then, I mean, it is, and then you have no reason to complain because you're a hobo. But I mean, that's a conversation that you would have before you moved in with somebody.
So, do you feel like that, Mia? You have a child and the next guy come along, would you be able to give him all your time, even with that child there?
Well, I mean, mathematically speaking, no. I mean, I have a child, so really it would be split between the two. I mean, that's just life. Mathematically speaking, it's not possible. I mean, we have a child, attention goes to the child, and then what's left would go to the partner. But that's just, it's more important to be a good parent than it is to be a good partner. I mean, because I'm releasing, like my son, for instance, I'm releasing him into the world. I need to make sure he is a good and capable human. But I mean, it's not to say that step parents can't have fulfilling relationships. I mean, but it's all about being equitable and splitting your time appropriately.
And I think
emotionally speaking, sorry, go ahead.
I think the older you get, the easier it becomes, like, because, you know, the kids get older, life is going on. You kind of like you're wiser, and you're not partying and stuff anymore. Now, if you like really young, like I know a guy who used to be on this show, actually, he was a stepfather at like 19, 20 years old. His chick was like 35, 40. So, I mean, like, the older you get is you even have better information to pass along to like somebody else's kids. Like I've got close to just somebody I wasn't even dating like that, like her kid, because we just was hanging out.
So I mean, there's a lot of cons, really. A lot of people don't know this. If you like, say you get with somebody who has a kid, and like say y'all. In some states, you could just play the role of a father, and eventually that, if y'all break up, that mother can come after you for child support. I don't know if y'all heard that or not. Michigan is one of those states. Michigan is very selfish when it comes to this type of stuff. The mother in Michigan could just, when the baby's born, she could put anybody's name on the birth certificate, and that man is responsible for paying to clear his name and to prove that he's not the actual father of the child, which could cost you thousands of dollars. But to what I'm saying, it is a lot of risk to it. And I'm just playing devil's advocate, you know, here just to get some dialogue. But that is a thing. You do take a risk by taking on somebody else's child in a legal sense. And I can kind of understand who's somebody like Russell Wilson, who was going against Future a lot of times.
Oh my God, stop it. Russell is a saint. That man is a saint.
That was embarrassing for me. You know, it's one thing to take on the child, but to be like, I'm your father and stuff like that, to me, that's taking it too far. Like,
well, I mean, you have to like dissect that though, because like Future has literally 10 kids or something like, or close to it, 9 at minimum. He has like literally 9. So odds are he is not talking, not seeing, not being fulfilling in any sort of parental role to half of them. Probably even a third of them like most of them probably don't see him. I highly doubt he's on FaceTime talking to his kids or anything every day, checking in on him. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, Future's son is Russell's son. Like, that is his son. Like, he's the one with him every day. He's tossing the ball. He's paying for the private school. I mean, he's tucking him in. He's reading them stories. They're going to church. I mean, that is his kid. Future is just salty.
Calling your son, though.
I mean, Future is just salty and bitter because, I mean, Sierra went from the trap house to the White House, and he don't like that. Like, she straight leveled up. She left him in the dust. She left him with the groupies on the streets, and he's just angry that she got better. Like, arguably, if we could look at the two of them, I would say her life is probably infinitely better, more stable, and has a little bit more going. I like Future's music, but I mean, he seems like he's a trash bag of a human.
I mean, word on the street is that he presents an image in the public, but behind the scenes, that he do spend time with his kids. So I have heard that, like I said, I've been in Atlanta 20 years, so you kind of hear a lot more. But so that's like a public image more so. But yeah, I didn't agree with that. I've only dated one person who had a kid, and it was one time where she tried to replace her actual last name with my last name, and I literally told her like, "Hey, you know what? I like you. We cool. I'm not. You do have a father. I could be that figure to you, but respect your father." And that's what I would always say, even though she started growing towards me. I'm like, "Hey, I'm here, but you need to respect your father. That's the person that had you, no matter what happened." I think that's a better approach than trying to be the real father. To me, at least, if it's different if you adopt. Like if you adopt a child and they don't know the parents, but if the child actually has a father in their life, I feel like it's that parent's obligation to make them respect, even if they trash, respect that person, respect their father.
Speaking of trash, easy with your trash Wi-Fi. What's your thoughts on this?
You tripping? I ain't got no trash Wi-Fi, boy. What's the topic?
You didn't see the whole video?
No, man, I was not in the room, bro. You know that.
Well, we'll go to the next video. He missed out.
Whatever, nigga. I got a MacBook, bro. Don't go there.
I'll give you the recap. Basically, we're discussing is it worth it to be a stepfather?
Y'all boys wilding.
It was a TK Kirkland clip. And he said it's a mental illness to be a stepfather. What do you think about that? We talking to you, Easy? What do you think about it?
Oh yeah, I don't oh my bad, yeah. So I don't know, man. I ain't doing that. Like, I only have one child and he's 18 now, thank the Lord. So nah, man, I don't think I wouldn't do it personally. Like if someone else does it, you know what I'm saying? I have that's up to them. But me, I try not to get involved in that because of what happened in my life or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Which I'm not gonna get into all that, but I wouldn't do it, you know what I'm saying? That's just me though.
All right, last question on this. Anybody can jump in and answer. Do you think there's a difference between a man taking on another man's kids and a woman taking on another woman's kids? Do you think there's a difference? Go ahead, Mia.
Yes, because I think the expectation for parents in general, for mothers and fathers, is different. We could argue that the expectation for mothers is slightly higher because we're expected to be innately more maternal. So the expectation would be for a woman to be okay with taking on multiple stepchildren and treating them all equally or adequately and fairly. I think men are expected to provide, but they can fall back on an excuse where it's like, well, I pay for the house, so he doesn't have to throw the baseball or anything. But I feel like the expectation for women is a lot higher.
Derek, it looked like you wanted to say something. You the guest. I saw you talking, but your mic was muted.
Well, yeah, I said that was a great question when I was muted. But I think there's definitely a difference. I think women are more accepting and nurturing than men when it comes to that, taking in other people's kids. But I don't know, man. I don't see nothing wrong with it. It's just got to be the right situation because, you got step parents that ended up unalive and, saying kids that moms allow into their home. So you really got to be careful, women, sisters, queens, goddesses, So there's definitely a difference, though, from the woman and the man raising each other's kids. Yeah.
85.
That question is crazy because it's like, that's crazy, man. I mean, because it's like I could see it from Mia's perspective, but I never thought about it. You know what I mean? But now I'm sitting here thinking about it, like, I don't even know how to answer that because a woman does things totally different than a man would do in general, especially when it comes to raising children. So I guess it's going to be different regardless. It's inevitable, I would say. Like, I don't think there's a way to make it compatible. And I think that's why we balance, having a man and a woman in the house, because you can balance that child a lot better. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. Like, I got a daughter, but I never did her hair. I would freak out if I had to do her hair. But I know some dudes that know how to do their daughter's hair. And I'd be like, damn, how you learn how to do that? You know what I'm saying? So it's just different.
I can tell you why it's easier for women, right? Because with women, they don't have to deal with the baby mama as much. The baby mama will barely let the daddy get the kids. She gonna be beefing with the baby mama. She'll be trying to outdo the baby mama. When the woman has the kids and then the dad that she's dating, she always has the kids most of the time. So that's why it's harder for the woman because she's most of the time she's the primary care provider.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get at.
Now, I don't want to my answer maybe sound like a dirtbag. I'm not a dirtbag. I think it's very honorable for another man to step up and do that because these kids need guidance. You know what I mean?
I'm
So
glad you cleaned
that
that up because Derek and Slim was just like, yeah, we the stepfathers of the year. We're doing this. And then you just came on and was like, bro, I can never do it. I can never do it. So I'm glad you cleaned
bro,
that up.
I'm on this show. It's a man cave. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. It's gonna come out how it come out. You feel me? Yo, none of this is rehearsed. Everything is off the top.
For sure.
I thought you were gonna get your answer.
Who?
I
Easy?
gave my answer. I
Oh,
just gave
okay.
my answer. I said I think it's very honorable for someone to take charge because these kids do need guidance. But personally, I wouldn't do it because of what I've been through in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way, even though I have kids. If I'm dealing with somebody with kids, because normally the women I date don't have kids. I don't know how that happens. I'm not looking at that, but they would have to go hard because I already understand the dynamic that I'm second when a woman has kids. To me, that's the difference. Like as a man, if you got kids, it's more financial, especially now. If you break up, it's more child support. Like Grace said, the mother normally has the kids majority of the time. So for me, it's more of a financial. I could cover the kids, cover that woman. But if I get a woman with kids, I'm supposed to cover all that. So I think I don't know. But we're gonna go to the next video.
Oh, can I piggyback on something, man?
Go ahead.
I just want to say it is important, though. I think, like, if you're going in it trying to replace the kid's father or mother, then that's like the wrong mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like Gray was saying earlier, like I think he said he let his situation know, like, yo, I'm not your pops. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to still respect your pops. Like, there's got to be a boundary. You know what I'm saying? So you as the man got to set those boundaries because if you don't, it's not going to work out in your favor. So you got to not try to replace the pops, but still be that influence in your lives. Because a lot of people try to, they feel intimidated because they got to fill that role. They think they got to fill that role, but you don't got to fill that role. Just be that influence. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This comment, it takes a real man to step up. Someone else's kid is not for everyone. So I want to comment on that. I think that's a shaming tactic.
And that's Nora.
As a word for me.
The new party said that, but go ahead, Vogel, about that.
If a man decides not to do it, that doesn't make him fake or less of a man. That's his choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's an option. Like
yeah.
I think society tries to make men obligated to start to cover up either another man's mistakes or that single mother's mistakes. I want to tell all men, it is not your obligation to come in and clean up. You should not be the cleanup man. Now, if you really like this woman and you see something, you can get something out of it, you see it's an equal exchange, go for it. But you shouldn't feel obligated. And don't let nobody tell you you're not a real man if you don't take on someone else's kids. that really gets under my skin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Derek gave the perfect example. He's like, the person that he's dating has a kid. He has no guidance at all. He's a young age. He needs that because his dad is not around at all. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's certain situations.
Now, I was gonna say, in the case with women, women should be grateful if another man come in and want to raise your kids. Like that, we got to stop making that like a thing. Like it's some talent you should have, or no, anybody. You know what I'm saying? My lady don't have kids. I do. And I'm grateful when my daughter comes and she do what she do. You know what I'm saying? I always tell her I'm appreciative of it. It's not something that she has to do. So no.
Yeah.
We gotta stop doing that.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't always have this mentality. Yeah, I didn't always have this mentality. You know what I'm saying? Just through the course of things that happened in my life, it just kind of made me be like, no, you know what I'm saying? Because I just been through too much, bro. Straight up. So
yeah, that's setting a boundary for yourself. That's self-love, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. And a lot of brothers try to force it and shit, and that's when it blow up in their face. Like, you gotta let it flow, and again, not try to go in there thinking I got to be a dad now. Nah, just go in there thinking like, yo, I can be an influence to this young being's life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because kids are the future. You know what I mean? And the way our kids are being attacked anyway. So like shit, if you have the opportunity to be a big influence in somebody else's life and the situation is right, like my man, damn, vulgar locker room. That's all I see a day, right? But like you said earlier, bro, like just like you said earlier. So yeah, salute. Don't feel obligated.
All right, these questions keep coming. I gotta educate the men on this.
Go ahead.
So what about the kids made you and no longer with the mom? Do your kids not deserve a father in the home 24/7? Here's the thing: kids deserve a father to be in home 24/7. Y'all gotta choose the right man. That's what it comes down to. Gotta choose the right man. You need to make sure a man's gonna be around, that y'all know him before y'all start having kids with him. It's the same thing with me. That's why my relationship now is better. I took time. We all make mistakes. So this is not a judgment. I made mistakes. I thought I had the right women. I didn't. After so long, the baby came. They wanted divorces. So now I know that I have to find the right person. That I've had many opportunities to make more kids. I had